Very excited to be joined by one of UCLA's newest offensive linemen, Reuben Unije, by way of Houston. Transferred into UCLA for his last year as a collegiate player. Reuben, how does it feel to be at UCLA?
Man, it's a blessing. I never, thought I would end up at UCLA, but I did because originally out of high school they offered me, and then they offered me my when I entered the portal the first time when I left Houston, Chip. They offered me again, but I just, for some reason, God made me come here now, and it's been the biggest blessing. With all the coaches we have here, with top down, Coach Foster, Coach Bieniemy, Coach Castillo. You know what I'm saying? Every position coach, every staff member, all the players. It's definitely one of a kind.
At any of those points, did it ever get to the point of seriousness of you considering a visit or trying to come out here? Or was it, always like, oh, they offered, but I got to look at these other schools?
I say in high school, I probably gave them the most interest. They're in my final seven in
Got it.
high school. They're in my final seven, and it was like, I only had select the official visits, so I had a final seven pick who, you know, we're gonna really get it, and they just didn't make the cut.
Yeah, no, that's the way of it. You've been through this process a few times. How much has recruiting changed? Like, you went through it in 2018, and now you're doing it. You did it in 2024. But how much has that process changed? I guess for you personally, but also with like NIL and all that other stuff being thrown in, has it changed significantly since 2018 for you?
Yeah, it definitely has. But so there's always been money around. Not saying that I got any money or anything, but there's definitely been whispers of money, but never like this. And especially with the immediate, play, being able to play instead of like having to sit out a
Yeah,
year. That's what made JUCO a big thing because law schools and then one players have to sit out a year if they didn't get their hardship waiver. But now but you're able to play if you transfer one time. You know what I'm saying? You get immediately
yeah.
play. Sometimes people can transfer twice and it's still immediately play. I don't even know the rules at this point,
I don't
and
think
I'm
there are
glad.
any.
I'm glad this is my last. But yeah, nah, it definitely changed the whole landscape of recruitment. Because kids from high school too, they're already thinking about potential transfer portal. You know, back when I was coming out, kids were not. That was even really a thought for real. That's like if everything failed and you tried it, all these, nowadays kids go into college thinking, about the possibility of them entering the transfer portal. If that doesn't, it's interesting. And then NIL,
Yeah.
it's kind of nice.
Yeah.
I like NIL for college athletes. Everything that they gone through, I
Oh,
feel like it's perfect.
something needed to happen. Guys got to be paid.
Nah, it's a
Hard.
blessing, and then I think it helps too. It can help more serious fan bases. They get to have better teams and win more games. They're more happy. If I don't bet or anything, but if there are people who bet on games, and they're donating to the team heavily, they could essentially like heighten their odds of winning these games and
Yeah.
know that I know I'm gonna win this game, and they're already fans of the team. There's a lot of things that go along with it, just yeah, and NIL helps,
Yeah.
it's definitely a blessing.
For you personally, and I can imagine, like, there's obviously the benefit of flexibility with the transfer portal where you can, you know, kind of pick your spots. But going into your last year, was there a lot of pressure on you to kind of, okay, I gotta find the exact right fit. I gotta find the kind of perfect landing spot because this is my last go round in college to put good film out there for the NFL or what have you.
Yeah, nah, 100%. It was, especially coming off of last year. Last season was kind of like a down season for me, coming off having no sacks my whole career. Just like last year was supposed to be the year that I was gonna declare and all that, but my draft grade was fifth to PFA, so it was like you know it
Right.
wasn't really a good idea for me to come out at that time and not having the season I wanted. So I was like, all right, well, I do have this 1 year for my medical red shirt, and COVID, So I was like, I got to make it count. I can, thanks to NIL, come back another year, and I feel like I'm forced or like,
Right.
like financially, like, oh, I gotta, even though I didn't feel, entirely like it was the best decision, oh, I gotta do it, because financially, it's better than getting, just what you're getting in college before NIL. But thanks to NIL, it's definitely like it made the decision a lot more, logical than going off of financials and how that has you feeling more emotional when you may not have as much or whatever.
Yeah.
So
I can imagine, especially with a grade like that, because I know in a lot of previous times guys would leave if they had any kind of NFL draft grade. But now when you can make, whatever similar money you might make to a camp offering by going to
not
school.
facts.
Yeah.
That's really what it is. 100%.
Yeah.
That's really it just wouldn't make more it didn't make sense, especially I got this extra year, and thank God for Coach Castillo, Coach Foster, Coach Bieniemy, because that was the most perfect spot for somebody in my situation, to be
Yeah.
honest. Coming into a spot like this, all like had a year that was supposed to be his, blow up year, but due to certain things that, you know, little things in my technique that Coach Castillo has just worked his magic already, but I'll let y'all see that soon. But you know, it's just little things in my technique that made that even happen. Like a couple sacks, up, it changes the whole trajectory
Yeah.
of you gave up that you gave up 4 sacks. Like, you may not be good, but in reality, like if you know the nuance of football. Is like you can tell, like if you're an O lineman, like okay, this is why, like oh, this is such a simple fix, and it was like something that I wasn't really getting the right, I didn't
Yeah.
know during the season. And then with Coach Castillo, it just well, y'all see it, but it's definitely like the perfect spot I could have came to. And then Coach Bieniemy, how much he knows ball, his offense. I get to showcase a lot of things.
How
It's
much of it was
perfect.
both those guys being NFL? How much of that was just kind of
I'm
the
gonna be honest,
draw?
that's all it was. That's
Yeah.
really what it was. That was the main thing. Like that was really the only thing. That's really the only thing. It's really like like it's at the end, right when I was about to commit here. My recruitment like was really turning up in a portal, and a lot of schools are offering a lot of money, and when it came down to it, is like the end goal. What is it?
Yeah.
And I'm like, these people give me the best chance by far. Like they fresh off the NFL, and then
Right.
come in here work hard underneath them, like. I know they're gonna look out for me, in any way they can. They're gonna see, you
Yeah.
come in here, do what you need to do. Just like it's a perfect fit. If I was a high school kid or a transfer, I would definitely come here if I'm an O lineman or offensive player or a defensive player. Any player, honestly, but especially offensive player and O line, especially because I can speak for that like day to day. If I was an O lineman, I definitely would come here. But
So what do they have you doing? Are you going to be doing left tackle? Because I know you played a lot of right at Houston, and
yeah.
then you played a bunch of left in I think 2020.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah, yeah. My first year at Houston, funny, my all conference year, I made a PFF honorable mention. But I was like, oh, I'm gonna turn it up. Then I ended up medically redshirted the next year.
right.
So, but long story, but whatever. That was my left tackle year though. When I did, my
Yeah.
best year, PFF wise, or my second best year, or whatever, was my left tackle year. And it was like, it was kind of full circle. Left tackle again. I was like, I wasn't really sure about it at first. I'm like, I haven't done this in years. But trusting Coach Castillo all the way.
What's
You
the
can never be able to tell.
technically? I mean, because obviously there's differences in left tackle and right tackle. You're most often protecting the blind side on the left side, but how significant does it change for you? I mean, obviously your technique has to be different. It's
Yeah,
opposite, but what else changes? Like,
it's more so just like muscle memory.
right?
Like if we do, it's like being right hand dominant.
Sure.
And trying to write with your left hand. That's the best way to put it. It's like you gotta, for you to be, are you a right-handed or left-handed?
Right-handed.
So imagine you having to do like everything with your left hand. You would
I
have to
can't.
train
No,
yourself.
my left hand
I
is
know
so
it's
stupid.
hard, but you say that right now. That's how I was feeling when he was telling me go to left tackle. But then, but after getting a lot of repetitions, thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of reps, like you'll be able to probably you'll see your progression with your left hand. You know,
Probably.
and that's pretty much what left tackle or right tackle is. Just like getting the reps to be able to feel natural on both sides, because your body's gonna, is gonna get used to your hips and everything, like your whole brain, your whole perception of like life, like it's so crazy. When you're on the right side, is right dominant. Any tackle will tell you this. When you're on the right side, is like right dominant, kind of like in the little ways, like and when you're on the left side, is left dominant. It's just I seen it. Me and my tackles talked about it. It's kind of interesting.
With
It becomes you.
Yeah, I bet. Um, so playing left tackle, I mean, you've got to have a relationship with your left guard, and with the rest of the offensive line. How's that been going so far? I mean, you've been on campus for what, a few weeks now?
Yeah, yeah, I have. It's going well. It's going perfect. I love my fellow offensive linemen and teammates, but my boys in the O line room, we get all the hard work together. They're my dogs. Spencer, Josh, Garrett, Junior, Lonnie, everybody in there. Walkers, both the Walkers. You know what I'm saying? My boy Nick Prongos, Dovey. I don't want to go and name everyone because like this is gonna take too long. But I feel like I named one. I had to name everyone, but
I mean,
but Taka,
you're the elder
Noah,
statesman in that group too. I mean, like, do you kind of
yeah.
take on a leadership role in that situation, or is it kind of hard when you're coming into a new thing?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't really look at it as that. I just kind of, I feel like I'm just naturally just myself, and some may perceive that as a leader. I'm just kind of coming in here wanting to win. So whatever you take that as, that mentality of like, let's win. I want my guys to, want it as bad as I do. So I would, me in my head, I don't look at it as like, oh, like a leadership role. I just look at it as like I want us all to be on the same page and want the same thing and like hold each other accountable.
Makes sense. And then,
Yeah,
obviously, the guy you're going to be protecting for, Ethan Garbers. What's been the connection with him so far?
yeah, he's a dog, man. I like him. He has the world's like strongest dap for sure. His handshake is pretty firm, but nah, he's a
That it
cool
is.
guy.
I've shaken hands with him a few times. Very firm
Yeah,
handshake.
very fair, but cool guy, knows the offense well. I'm very confident with him as my quarterback. I love the way he commands the offense and and the whole team. So I'm definitely excited to actually, get real, forever film with him.
For sure. For sure. All right. Well, this was a lot of fun, Ruben. Really appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
And
Thank you.
yeah, best of luck this season. And I'm sure we'll talk again during the season, as you put together that NFL film.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
All right. Have a good one.
All right, you too.